Hey everybody, Dave Brown here from Okuma Fishing Tackle. Today I'm going to talk about the top water baits that you should have in your selection. So the first bait I want to talk about is the frog. Frog fishing is very popular multiple times a year. Generally you want to do it when those fish are active. When you start to see bait popping and moving along the surface, that's when you want to start pulling out that frog. Now frogs are generally weedless. So you're gonna have, like this particular one here happens to be the Fish Lab rattle toad, and it's weedless. As you can see, those hooks are down inside the body of that bait. When that bass bites down, it actually exposes the hooks, and that's where you're gonna get your hookup. Now fishing these, you just wanna make a nice long cast along that structure. Weed mats, moss, which we have here, any kind of sticks, stick-ups, grass, anything like that is perfect for those bass. Just make that long cast and you can work it right back over the top of that structure. Being weedless, you're generally not gonna get hooked up or snagged up in any of that kind of top water stuff, anything that's laying there, but it's very effective. You can actually pull it up over stumps. Those bass are gonna go a little bit crazy. So the next bait I wanna talk about are propeller style baits. This happens to be the river to sea whopper plopper. Now propeller baits like this are gonna be a rear propeller style bait. It's got a big propeller that actually spins right along the back. Now to fish these, you just make a nice long cast, open water, not structure, open water, and straight retrieve these baits. When you're doing that, this big tail here makes a big kick, big splash right along the back, and it kicks up a big rooster tail of water that actually draw in fish from great distances. You don't want to fish it in any kind of structure here because you will get hooked up with this guy. It's got large treble hooks, and most of the baits are all the same style. Large treble hooks that will grab on whatever it's coming across the top. So to fish this, you want to fish it open water. If you happen to see breaking fish, breaking bait around you, and then when you're close to the structure, just nice long parallel casts. Those bass, they're usually hunkered down within those weeds and those sticks and those stumps and the bushes like the one behind me here. And when this thing comes plopping along with the side of there, that's when that huge topwater strike happens. That's the whopper plopper propeller style bait. The next bait I want to talk about is the wake bait. This is your general wake bait style bait. These are usually a jointed style bait with a big lip right in the front there. These are all floating. They're gonna stay right up on the surface of the water. Now for fishing a wake bait, you also need open water. You don't wanna fish it with grass or mats or anything behind you, just open water. Long cast and a nice, slow, straight retrieve. What happens is that bait's gonna make nice big S-curves, and it's gonna create a large wake right on the surface. A lot of these make a lot of commotion. They'll even make some noise when they're clacking back and forth, but you don't want to fish it over grass, as you will hook up that grass or sticks or anything else. But nice long open water cast near structure is great. So if you're in a boat, cast that shoreline and work it right along those weed lines. But it's also a very effective bait. Doesn't take anything extraordinary on these smaller. This happens to be the 4-inch size bait. So you don't need a big swim bait rod. They're nice and light. Your general tackle can work. You can even fish it with a spinning reel if you like as well. Now the next bait I want to talk about is your topwater stick bait style bait. Now these are going to be more of a walk the dog style bait. On a straight retrieve, there's not a lot of action. So with these baits, open water as well, make that long cast, and you're going to start working that bait back. Usually you're going to give it a little bit of a jerk and it'll pop its way along the surface. You want that walk the dog style. On a straight retrieve, it just comes at you, makes a little bit of commotion. But on these, long cast, walk the dog, and you're gonna get that big kick. When you're making those kicks, that splash kicks out, creates a lot of commotion, and it brings in those bass. Same styles as other baits, work it along the structure, but in the open water side. Now these smaller style baits, these are something you also don't need anything real dramatic as far as your tackle goes. This is a nice light bait that you can fish with your 7-foot medium heavy, or maybe a 7.3 heavy. You know, it kind of depends on what you're looking for and what kind of action you want. But something with a nice stiff backbone and a semi-fast, medium fast to fast action rod works well with these baits. We appreciate y'all checking in. For more tips, tricks, and techniques, head over to okumafishingusa.com.